So how would you explain what gravity is for viewers that are unfamiliar with it? I think David and I have a pretty good idea, but can you explain for others what gravity is, what gravity does?
Yeah, sure. So Gravity is a collaborative learning tool, and it's just really cool. I'm gonna show it to you later, but it's you can have different classrooms or learning communities. You don't have to be in a physical classroom together. It's all online, and we try to basically empower discussions and sharing knowledge through video. We really believe in video, in like this connection that we have here. Not just talking through text. And we have like a whole host of like AI features as well to empower teachers. It's super cool. But yeah, it,
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And we'll get to see it here coming up. David?
Kyle, who was it or what was it that inspired you in Gravity to create solutions in ed tech space? What kind of what is the mission there?
I'd say, like, I guess ever since I guess COVID was like really a turning point, right? In a sense where everyone had to be like taken, everything had to be done online, I guess, in a sense. And we saw like an opportunity. I mean, I joined later this entire journey, but Daniel and his partner Jessica, they saw like they had this vision and everything, of let's make a tool so that online discussions can be good and even like better than discussions in person, so where everybody gets their voice heard, which I think is super important. And we don't have like people talking over each other, or everybody can follow their own train of thought. And they came up with Gravity, which I think really helps people learn better, by interacting and following their own trains of thought. It's super cool.
Yeah, so like as that video sharing type of a tool, right, that you talked about, like there
Mhm.
are, as both of us are classroom teachers by training, right?
Yeah.
And, class discussions in person, those are great. But then you talk about when you get to COVID and now, you switch the way that you have to try to reach different students in your classroom. And I don't think either one of us, David and I, would want to go back to that situation. But there were things that I did notice, when I was teaching through COVID. And one of the things that I noticed is that when you did allow students the ability to share their views and their beliefs, whether it was in a written comment or in sharing a video one. I know I back then used a lot of a product called Flip or Flipgrid,
Mhm.
which did similar things. But now that tool is becoming much less available for people to use. But one of the things I did notice is that those students who didn't really actively participate in discussions in person now are finding kind of that voice, and they're finding that avenue that they're able to share in a more comfortable way for them. I mean, is that kind of something that you saw too, and what attracted you to Gravity as well?
For sure, for sure. I think a big thing in like classroom discussions, like when you're live and in person, is like perhaps there's like that one. There are a few confident kids or something that they know how to speak. They know how to articulate their thoughts really well, and sometimes they can like dominate the discussion. Through no fault. It's no fault through no fault of their own. Sorry. And then somebody who is not as socially adept or is not as confident doesn't have like the confidence to just really share their opinion, even though they might have something really valuable to say, right? So in Gravity, you can do it through video, right? So you can, and it's not live, so you can just go, okay, you can just practice what you're saying 100 times if you want to, which is great. And also, there's not like one voice that dominates the discussion. If that one confident person posts a great video, everybody can respond to that and they can follow their own train of thought. But people can also respond to the quiet kids train of thought. It just changes social dynamics in a way which I personally find very beneficial. And from what I've seen, it works really well.
Right, and it opens up different avenues for people to participate, I think, right? And,
Mhm.
like you said, you can comment on with your own post back to somebody else's original post, and it can then continue a discussion thread that might even move along the advancement of learning and knowledge through those different processes. And so, I think definitely, like you're talking about, it's a tool that we kind of need now more than ever. And we take those things that, from COVID that we did learn that are valuable, and find a way to keep integrating those into the things that teachers use in their classrooms.
Absolutely. And just to also make it clear, we're not, only made for like online learning. We love like in-person learning as well. We're just like a tool that can add on to this. But to your point
Right.
about friends, yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. And I think you're exactly right. I could see definitely opportunities for teachers, even in in-person classes, to be able to offer this as a tool to reflect, even, where
Mhm.
students can post something about what they've learned about, and how they've internalized it, and give kind of their thoughts to show what they know, at the same time, and have other students like, oh, I didn't really think about it that way. And, I thought of it this way. And it can kind of continue, even though they might see each other day to day, they might not naturally have that opportunity in the traditional kind of, at least in the United States, like a 45, 50-minute class period. And then they go on to the next subject somewhere else. So yeah, I definitely think that that's kind of a cool feature of that, for sure.
Yeah, if I well, you mentioned the US, but I mean, I'm here in the Netherlands, and we go through some of the same stuff. I'm still in university, so I am in a classroom and everything all the time. And I remember last semester we had this assignment. It was a semester-long assignment where we had to read. We were assigned some texts to read, and then we had this online tool that I forgot which one it was, but you had to basically highlight parts of the text and comment on them, and we were evaluated on like what our comments were like. So what you basically had was just like people waffling on and on, trying to sound smart, but like they're just it was just very performative in a sense, and it didn't feel natural, right? And
Mhm.
and what I'm trying to do now is to get the school to use Gravity, because here you can just like use video, right? You can do the same discussion but in a more organic, natural way, instead of uh you know using I don't know how many adjectives and adverbs and everything. And it's just yeah, it just feels really cool. So it's not just a problem in the US, it's everywhere. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
On that note, do you think there's a typically before this we would have had like students would always turn in some sort of like paper or digital work, or maybe do like a presentation in front of the class? Is there a value that you think can be derived from the video medium, where they can do those reflections and then turn them in, and whether that's like just the teacher watching it, or if it's shared among students and they can see it? Do you think that there's a value there that we get from the video style, versus some of the other ones? And not that it's replacing those, but that it maybe enhances things in a way that the others can't.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. Like as you said, video is not like a replacement for in-class presentations, right? You still got to learn how to stand up in front of a class, make a PowerPoint and everything. Like that's super important, and I love presentations, making PowerPoints, that kind of stuff. So I never argue against it. But I mean, we're I guess moving into a world where like video is also important, and there are plenty of advantages to video, right? Because you do a presentation in a classroom, and unless you record it, it's basically lost forever, right? A video, you can keep it forever. You can share it, and people can add on to it with our threads feature in Gravity. And Medium as a medium as well, you can do a lot with it, right? You can edit the video, and sharing is a lot easier. So yeah, becoming proficient at this, I think, is important, and it's going to be even more important as time goes on. So yeah, does that answer your question? I
Yeah,
hope.
it does. I think, because I was thinking of it just from the skill standpoint too, of like if you just take the channel that Jeremy and I have with Integrate This, or with like my organization, we do PD on demand, and all of that has to be done remotely. It's
Mhm.
people accessing those things, that maybe they're close, maybe they're far away, but I just like it from the standpoint of like people being able to access trainings or whatever it might be on demand. And I think that the skills that students can learn from platforms like yours is extremely important because they can start learning those early on. So like on YouTube, there's tutorials for everything. So you know, and students are constantly watching things like that, or you know, so being able to learn that is good too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So David and Kyle,